Hi, my name is Tish. Welcome back to my page, Kingdom Beauty. In this video for this topic, we are going to be diving into something deep because I realize it is something that a lot of people are searching for answers for. It's something that a lot of people need help with. I believe from what I've seen, my most engaged with videos happen to be videos about God telling me something, God showing me something, and hearing his voice and etc. And so I just want to help in this area of service. Just hopefully my personal experiences, the tips that I can give you through that, backed by and aligned with scripture, will help you to discern God's voice for yourself in your life. So let's watch this video that I did on this, and then I will expound. This video shouldn't be too long. This dream revealed to me how we could recognize when something is God. I dreamt that I was sitting in like a church. It was people all around me. I heard my pastor, Jerry Flowers' voice. I didn't see him anywhere. When I looked around, nobody was talking. When I looked in front of me, the man sitting directly in front of me, close enough to where my knees could touch his back, was the only person that was talking. So I said, this must be Jerry. So let me pay attention. I observed it was his hairstyle. He was dark skinned like Jerry. It was the back of his head. It was a side profile. I said, this is Jerry, without me even seeing his face, because I recognized the voice. I traced the voice back to where it was coming from. I observed the attributes and knew it was him. This is how we can recognize when something is God. So that is a reel that I made in like March of 2024. We're gonna break that video down. I thought I wrote that dream down somewhere. I didn't, so I'm glad I made a reel about it because there's record of the dream itself. So the first thing I noticed, the first thing that I said when it comes to that dream in particular, we're gonna talk about the dream and then I'm gonna extract the tips for you. So the first thing I said was, there was a man talking in front of me. We were sitting down. He was sitting in front of me. I was sitting behind him, but that I was so close that my knees was almost touching his back as he was sitting in a chair. So realize that me recognize that he was even talking meant that I had to be close enough to, okay, I recognized this man in front of me like was talking because I was right there. Imagine if I was all the way on the other end of the room, how would I have heard him? So I was that close. My knees was about to touch his back. So here, I throw in the tip right here as we go along. You have to be close to God to hear his voice, period. Even if you hear his voice incorrectly, you misinterpret the things he says, all of those things you'll learn. But to even be able just to hear him, you might not know what he's saying, but to even hear him in the first place, you have to be near him. Your knee should be touching his back. Like, that's just me saying that based on a dream, but you have to be near God to hear his voice in the first place. The next thing in the dream, when you are noticing and you believing that the Lord is talking, when you hear something, observe what is being said. Observe what is being said, and can you trace what is being said back to God's character, back to his heart, back to all of his attributes that we learn about in scripture? So in the dream, when I realized the man in front of me was talking and that it sounded like Jerry, but I wasn't sure because I couldn't see the face, likened to the fact that we cannot see the Lord's face. So I said, okay, let me pay attention. I think it is, but let me test it. Let me observe. So I looked at his skin tone, his skin complexion. He was dark skinned like Jerry. This is Jerry's skin complexion for sure. This is Jerry's hair for sure. This is how he wear his hair. This is what the back of his neck looked like. Because, I be seeing that on the camera. He'd turn around and walk away from the podium. Like, listen, this is the back of his neck. And then I even leaned forward a little bit just to get a glimpse of his side profile. I said, that's Jerry's side profile. And so I said, okay, these attributes seem like Jerry for sure. So when you hear something, right? When you hear something, you think it's God, examine what you're hearing. If you are hearing something telling you to, hey, you know, go lie about your tax info and go file them, you know, because that's how I'm finna bless you to get a house. I need you to, you know, put something different on your tax. That is not the Lord, right? Because the Lord is not going to have you engaging in illegal, like the Lord is not going to have you lying and committing fraudulent activity. The Lord isn't going to have you being deceptive on legal documents. Like if the Lord want to bless you with something, you don't got to go through all that in the first place. So would the Lord ask you to commit fraud? No. So that's not the Lord talking, right? It doesn't align with his character, what he asks of us, what he shows us in his word. So you pay attention to the attributes. So I missed a tip. It's going to be like 3 tips. You have to be close enough to the Lord to even recognize that he's talking in the first place. And then I said you have to pay attention to the attributes, right? You have to pay attention to see if it sounds like who you think it is. You trace the attributes back to the person and see if it aligns. But the second tip that I forgot to mention is that before I even in a dream observe to see if it was actually Jerry by looking at his details, you know, between hearing him speak and observing to see if the man talking was actually Jerry, I had to trace in between. I had to see where the voice was coming from. I was close enough to hear the voice. Once I heard the voice, now I'm looking around to see, okay, where is it coming from? Is nearby? Is it coming from this direction, that direction? When we hear a voice, we have to be sure of where it's coming from. Where is it coming from? Is the voice coming from our own mind and thoughts? Is the voice coming from the enemy? Is the voice coming from God himself? We have to look around once we hear the voice and see where it might be coming from. When we feel like we have an idea of where it's coming from, then we observe what's being said. We pay attention to what's being said and then we see if it aligns with who we think is coming from. So those are the 3 tips, because in a dream, I'm looking around to see, okay, which person near me is talking, because I was in, as you heard the real, the dream, I was in a room full of people. It was some sort of event. So it could have been anyone talking. So I had to look and see exactly who was the one talking. And I traced it back to the man sitting in front of me. I was like, I think this is the guy talking. Then I started saying, I think this is Jerry. And then I started looking and observing the person to see if it was him for sure. Right? So when you hear a voice, see where it's coming from. If it sounds like something that you had a desire to do your whole life and something that you always talk about, something that you might even idolize, their voice really might be you. If you're hearing things that push you down, that kind of condemns you, if you're hearing things that's telling you to take yourself out of this earth, if you're hearing things that say like you ain't nothing, like you're beyond being saved, like these are things and attributes that you can for sure trace back to the enemy. You can do that. Like that's how he talks. He makes you feel like you're not worth it. He makes you feel like you got to go outside of God's power to obtain something. The way he tried to get Jesus to throw himself off the roof to obtain his power by having the angels come and save him. And that's not how God was finna display his power. But I hope that these tips help you. But these are the tips in the ways that you can recognize when something is God. Right? I just used my dream as a personal example. I also have real life examples, right? I just found it to be so strong to use this dream as an illustration point. But make sure everything aligns with scripture. And so right now I am going to put up a chart with the scriptures that align with every single point and tip that I've given, because at the end of the day, it all has to be backed by scripture. So I'm going to add in a chart because if I just want the video to be short as I can make it. So I don't want to read them out loud on camera and stuff. So stay tuned, screenshot the chart, save it, share this video with someone who's been asking questions about how do you know when God is speaking and etc. Share it, comment if this has helped you. If this has helped you and you want to see more, go ahead and feel free to subscribe, but let me know if you want to see more content. I won't know if you guys don't engage. I won't. If my videos don't get engaged with, but it's okay. I'm going to continue to be faithful anyway. And yeah, so I hope you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the video, and I will see you next time.